Picture this. Thousands of voices echoing "No Kings" across Washington, D.C. in a powerful stand against President Donald Trump's leadership. Yet, in the same breath, many of those same protesters are turning their frustration toward their own Democratic Party, calling for more fight and less compromise. It's a moment that captures the deep divisions and urgent calls for change in American politics today. And it leaves you wondering, can the Democrats rise to the challenge? On Saturday, a massive crowd filled the streets of the nation's capital, united in chants and signs that rejected any notion of unchecked power. This event was part of a wave of similar demonstrations nationwide, coordinated by progressive organizations and grassroots activists. These No Kings rallies marked the second major pushback against the Trump administration, coming just months after an inaugural round of protests back in June. For those new to this, think of it as a coordinated movement to highlight concerns over authoritarian tendencies, drawing from historical ideas like the American Revolution's aversion to monarchy, but applied to modern-day politics. While the primary target was clearly Trump and his policies, conversations with attendees revealed a growing discontent bubbling up within the Democratic ranks. NBC News spoke with numerous liberal-leaning participants who didn't hold back on their criticisms of party leaders. Take Alex, a construction worker from Northern Virginia who made the trip to D.C. and preferred to keep his last name private. He shared his doubts openly. Right now, I just don't trust the Democrats much. They come across as lacking backbone and a clear vision. It's like they're too scattered to really challenge all this nonsense effectively. And he didn't stop there, adding with a mix of frustration and reluctant admiration, "It hurts to admit, but Trump's team seems way more put together than the Democrats at the moment." Echoing that sentiment was Clark Fury, a 40-year-old D.C. resident who brought his dog, Scooby, to the rally. He urged Democratic officials to get tougher. "We're just absorbing hits without pushing back hard enough," he explained to NBC News. "We need to start throwing some real punches." Sadly, staying on the high road isn't cutting it anymore. For beginners dipping into political jargon, throwing elbows here means adopting a more aggressive, no-holds-barred approach in debates and votes, rather than always opting for polite diplomacy. Jenny Wang, 35, another D.C. local at the event, summed up her feelings toward the party in two simple but telling words: disappointed and underwhelmed. She's far from alone in this view. Ever since the Democrats suffered major setbacks in 2024, losing the White House, the Senate, and failing to regain the House, their popularity has plummeted to some of the lowest points in recent history. Polls show voter frustration peaking, with many demanding a fiercer opposition to Trump. For more on those numbers, check out NBC News coverage here, https://www.nbcnews.Democratic Party hits new polling low, voters want fight Trump harder, RCNA 196161. Scott, a 45-year-old Washingtonian who joined the rally but skipped sharing his full name, went even further, suggesting the Democrats aren't much better than their Republican counterparts in some ways. Overall, the party is too influenced by big corporations, and they often let down everyday workers, he told NBC News. He cited examples like Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer from New York and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, also from New York, who have been slow to back Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee for NYC mayor. Details at www.nbcnews.com/elections Democratic National Committee Zohran Mamdani endorsement NYC Mayor RCNA 237025. Scott also highlighted Schumer's choice to support 77-year-old Maine Governor Janet Mills for a Senate run over younger progressive Graham Plattner, a military veteran and oyster farmer, in the primary. See Politico's report. https://www.politico.com/news/2025/1018-0576. It's obvious in their reluctance to endorse Mamdani in New York or by propping up an elderly candidate in Maine to sideline fresh progressive voices, he noted. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this hesitance a strategic move to appeal to moderate voters, or is it a betrayal of the party's progressive soul? What do you think? Does age or experience matter more in leadership? Amanda Notaro, 41, from Washington, who recently lost her job at the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, that's the government body handling foreign aid and development projects worldwide due to Trump's severe budget slashes, saw the party's caution as fear-driven. Democrats had fought those cuts in court after Congress approved the funding, but the Supreme Court cleared the way in September for $4 billion in reductions. NBC News analysis. https://1 billion foreign aid funding. Notaro believes more Democrats should be out there protesting. They ought to be back in their home states at these rallies, showing solidarity with democracy. Instead, many are fixated on protecting their seats in swing districts, missing a prime chance to demonstrate real democratic values. She did give credit for their role in the recent government shutdown, though. They finally showed some grit during the funding fight. But why wait until now? We could have acted back in March and stopped this sooner. To clarify for newcomers, a government shutdown means non-essential federal services halt, furloughing workers and disrupting programs. It's a high-stakes tactic used when Congress can't agree on budgets. That said, not all Democrats stayed away. Several prominent figures showed up to support the cause. In Boston, Senator Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts fired up the crowd with a speech. Live updates. https://www.nbcnews.com/news. Live blog. No Kings Protest Trump Administration, RCNA. Schumer rallied with folks in New York, while Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker addressed demonstrators in Chicago. Over in Montclair, New Jersey, Senator Andy Kim and gubernatorial candidate Representative Mike Sherrill spoke alongside Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin. And https://www.nbcnews/liveblog/No Kings Protests Trump Administration Live Updates, RCNA 238009, RCRD 9095, Canonical Card True, and https://www.nbcnews.com/US News/liveblog/No Kings Protests Trump Administration Live Updates, RCNA 238009, RCRD 9092, Canonical Card True. And this is the part most people miss. Even amid the criticism, many protesters recognize these efforts as positive steps forward. Despite the gripes, attendees like Notaro appreciated recent Democratic pushes, especially in Congress. Lawmakers there blocked a Republican temporary funding bill that could have averted the shutdown, leading to the current impasse now in its third week. Democrats are willing to back a bipartisan deal if Republicans agree to prolong Affordable Care Act subsidies expiring this year. Those are the provisions that help make health insurance more affordable for millions. I'm glad they're standing firm at last, said Lydia, 44, from Springfield, Virginia, who came with her daughters. Though she admitted the shutdown's toll, her brother is out of work, she saw its value. It stinks, but it's working. Healthcare costs are a big deal for me. I earn a decent wage but can't handle hikes. For context, the ACA, often called Obamacare, expanded access to coverage, and letting subsidies lapse could spike premiums for everyday folks. Laurel Beaton, 79, from Northern Virginia, who attended with a friend, noted the challenges of being in the minority, but praised their healthcare advocacy. They're battling a short-sighted Republican majority as best they can, and I really commend their work on lowering medical expenses. And amid the tension, there's optimism too. When asked about bright spots in the party, names like California Governor Gavin Newsom, Senator Chris Murphy, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York, Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett, Florida's Maxwell Frost, NYC's Zohran Mamdani, and Michigan's Senate hopeful Mallory McMorrow came up repeatedly. Jenny Wang put it bluntly. Time to clear out the old guard and inject some new energy. Congress has way too many folks in their 70s and 80s hanging on. But let's stir the pot a bit. While praising these rising stars, is the Democratic Party's internal rift between establishment figures and progressives a strength that fosters diverse ideas, or a weakness that's paralyzing them against Trump? And with the shutdown dragging on, are these protests and tactics truly effective, or just prolonging the pain for average Americans? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with the protesters' call for more spine in the Democrats, or do you see a different path forward? I'd love to hear your take. Alexandra Marquez is a politics reporter for NBC News. For full event coverage, visit www.nbcnews.com, News, U.S. News, live blog, No Kings Protests, RCNA 23800, and www.nbc News, Politics News, Indivisible predicts massive No Kings turnout protests, RCNA 23753.